Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue.
All right, so this is understood. Now, the argument is there is one thing which we always want. We want its company, we want to keep it all the time, and we never ever want to get rid of it. What's that? Ourselves. Ourselves. We ourselves. We want the tremendous urge to live in this body. Yes, the Vedanta will say that you identify yourself entirely with this body, that's why you want to keep this body going. But basically what you want to keep going is yourself. And science fiction is full of stories of how one day you'll be able to upload yourself into the cloud or something. Then all right, then we'll be very happy, let the body die. As long as I continue. All Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and who believe in rebirth, we believe that at one point the body dies and we lose contact with this body. We are very happy. Let them burn it, bury it, whatever. Because I know I continue without that body. So my continuity, I always want and never want to finish off myself. And I can know what you're all thinking. What about suicide? What about all those people who want to kill themselves? In fact, I have a movie, not a documentary shoot coming up for the National Mental Health Week where I'm supposed to speak out against suicide. So what about suicide? People who want to die then. Notice in the case of suicide, it's not really that they want to get rid of themselves. They want to get rid of associated problems. Somebody has a terrible debt and sees no way of paying off the debt and wants to kill himself or herself. They say that when the Great Depression hit, 1929, the people who jumped off from what building was that? Empire State Building at that time? The World Trade Center? No, Empire State, 1929. The financial center. Some people just jumped off. They saw they have lost everything beyond any hope of recovery of anything. Just went up the window and jumped. I saw this cartoon of a psychiatrist. He's sitting, the typical thing, and I think must be in Manhattan then. He's sitting there and the patient is lying on the couch and the psychiatrist is saying, there, you shouldn't be so sad. Tell me, why do you want to kill yourself? That's one panel. And the next panel, the psychiatrist is standing on the ledge of the window about to jump because he says, you have convinced me. I should also kill myself. No. If that person who has a terrible debt, who has a terrible disease, who has a lot of chronic pain and wants to die, if you cure that pain, if you pay off those debts, and then he used to tell the guy, so how do you feel now? Great. What about your plans for suicide? Oh, no, I don't want to kill myself. So it's only under certain problems that but by ourselves, we don't want to wipe out ourselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to kind of shorten that. We don't want suffering. If there's enough suffering within us, it gets people to start thinking about their only option, if you understand what I mean by that. And it's kind of sad, it really is. It's kind of, I mean, even in Japan now, I do believe that's a thing, actually, where they work so hard, so long, that some of them do that, too, today. Now, I don't know if things changed today. Let me put it that way, actually. Again, remember, back in 2018, 2019, me and a friend wanted to go to Japan to go experience the culture over there, and we did some research and just kind of looking up certain things. And yeah, like the work life over there is very, very difficult. And they get very low pay, and it's just kind of crazy. I hope things get better, and you kind of think about times like what he's talking about during the Great Depression, even during the pandemic that happened, and some of the things now, and mind you, in the United States, where it's a lot of rough things, but then you just got the everyday things everyday things that are just not necessarily out of the norm. Great Depression, out of the norm. If you live in the war zones going on now, out of the norm. But just if you're living in a relatively norm place and then you just have these thoughts, it's kind of crazy. It's about, obviously, Advaita Vedanta is about the identifying who your true self is so that you don't suffer from your emotions and attachments of things in this world. I always think about damage reduction reducing of suffering. That's the way I look at things. And if they can reduce your suffering, they won't be thinking about these things. But yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird. It was kind of laughing about the suicide stuff, but I kind of it's kind of weird to be laughing at that, just because it's not, it's a serious matter. And but I think I understand where it's coming from. It's a bit ridiculous when you have a certain mentality, but at the same time, I can understand to some degree why someone would want to. It's a terrible thing for sure.
So the self is never an object of displeasure. Now, we like things, we want to keep things which give us happiness. So if we like ourselves and we want to keep ourselves alive all the time, then it stands to reason we are always a source of happiness for ourselves. I'll repeat that. We want to keep things which are a source of happiness. If you give us happiness, I'll keep it. The moment it stops giving me happiness, I want to get rid of it or avoid it. Now, if I always want to keep myself alive, I always want my own company, that means I am a source of happiness to myself, even if we don't agree. It's a strange way of thinking, but it must be so.
Okay, I see. Okay. I was gonna disagree slightly in terms of that we are bliss, because I don't think we necessarily make ourselves happy. But I get what it's saying there. So if we are happy by ourselves with nothing, then we are happy. Um, and that's the way you want to be. I have a different outlook in that. I think of ourselves as content, not happy, not sad, maybe slightly happy, but content at the very least, where it's a very neutral emotion. You're not happy, you're not sad, and and with this neutral emotion, you want happiness. So that's the reason why it makes sense. Whenever I'm thinking this way, it's like we are content, but we want happiness. So that's the reason why we want gadgets and things that makes us happy, because we ourselves don't make ourselves happy, not in a negative fashion. It's just that we're neutral. That's our baseline thing, and we want happiness and we don't want sadness. If we were happy, we wouldn't want things. If we were content, we still wouldn't want things. Let me put it that way too. But I guess maybe my argument there may have convinced me to be a little bit more on that side. But if you're happy, you don't want anything. For me, I like the idea of content, where I don't want anything. Oh, sure, let me say I don't need anything or want anything, but it doesn't. But if I want it, I want it. If I don't, I don't. It's just that there's no attachment to it. There's no demand for it. I want it, but if I don't get it, I'm still perfectly fine. So that's my outlook in terms of that. It's contentment. You can want all you want, but as long as it doesn't affect you, meaning that it doesn't make you sad if you don't get what you want, then you're great. You're perfect. Or you're good. Not perfect, but good. But if something that you want makes you sad because you don't get it, then you're not there yet. That's the key for me, is that you can want a lot of things, but it should never make you sad. You can need stuff, which is what you need. There's no question about that. But don't confuse need with want. And what he's saying, as far as I'm understanding, is that you should be happiness itself. That way, things around you will not make you happy because you are already happy. It's not to say that things around you will make you sad or things around you are sad. It's just that you don't need things to make you happy because you yourself are happy. For me, I'm perfectly with content, because it's not. It's really weird to say that. Like, it's not an emotion thing where I'm happy. Because when you're happy and sad, it can, in some ways, manipulate how you, not manipulate, but change how you answer things, I suppose. When you're happy, you tend to be more friendly, more positive outlook in life, which is a good thing. But you can also be content and not necessarily have a negative outlook, but you can have a slightly more realistic output, I guess. I don't know. Everyone's different. And again, for me, I prefer contentment.
Not only am I always a source of happiness, keep these ideas in mind. You have to, ponder, let them sink in. These are new and strange ways of thinking, unaccustomed ways of thinking. Then there is an associated argument. Not only am I always a source of happiness for myself, but it's not a trickle of happiness. I'm also the source of maximum happiness for myself. This is the second argument which Vidyaranya gives, and which the author here is pointing towards. Is the second argument goes like this. If something is loved for the sake of something else, that something else is loved more than the first one. And remember, we always love things which give us happiness. Now, if something is loved, A is loved for the sake of B, you actually love B more than A. What does it mean? So, a classic example of mother who loves the toys her kids play with. Now, if you ask, does she love the toys more or the kids more? Oh, you laugh. What a question. Of course she loves the kids more. She loves the toys because of the kids. For the sake of the kids. Because my son or daughter loves this toy, therefore it's also an object, it is something dear to me. And it will continue to be dear to me. When the son and daughter grows up and is not concerned with the toys anymore, but mother will still love the toy because of the memories associated with the son or daughter. So, whatever is loved for the sake of something else, that other thing is loved more. If you love something more, it means it's giving you more happiness. Now, if there is something for which everything else is loved, everything in the universe is loved for that one thing must be loved most of all. And that what you love most of all is something that must be giving you maximum happiness. And what do we love most of all? I always give this example. That sounds awful, but it's true in a very deep philosophical sense. It's not awful, it's beautiful actually. This person said, oh, I really love my job. And the example is this. I really love my job. It's a very nice job. And pays well, but yeah, it's not for the money. I love doing the job. All right, then do the job. We won't pay you anymore. No, you have to pay me. Choose the job or the money. Suppose I were giving you an option. You don't have to do the job. We'll just give you the money. You earn $100,000 or something like that, and we'll just give you the money. You don't have to do anything. Or you do the job, but we won't give you anything. So I think most people would say, I want the money. All right, so the money is loved more than the job. And if you get the money, suppose someone says, you can get the money, but you can't spend it. Ever.
I wonder if a fair argument would be like, okay, I'll take the money and not do the job, but I'll still do the job because I would, if I'm getting paid for doing nothing, I can start my own business with that job and do it because I'm getting paid. The whole point of getting paid is not necessarily that you like the money, but it's to pay the bills. That's the big thing. If, for example, if he says, if you do the job, I will not pay you anything, but your bills will be paid. And then, of course, people are still going to want a little bit of more money for the purposes of just a little bit extra spending money for a little bit of joy for themselves. So, so you could say like this, maybe. I guess maybe a fair comparison would be: you can do the job, not get paid, but your expenses will be paid. I think people will say, heck yeah, I'll do that. I'm not getting paid any money. Money is completely out of the question because I'm not making any money, or I'm not given any money, but I'm getting products. I mean, obviously money is the currency of exchange there, but literally what if we say trade? It's like I'll trade my time and you trade me materials that I need. Again, money is not necessarily the root of all evil, because it's whatever is of high value at the time. Because if money just has no value at all, then are you going to still say that money is the root of all evil? No, it's whatever the next things of value comes into play. Back in the day, there was no money, there was trade. So salt was very valuable. Spices were very valuable. Maybe textiles were also very valuable. So those things were the root of evil. Whichever one's the most in demand is the most evil of them all. Could be salt. But you get what I'm saying, is that whatever is the most valuable, the things that can get you a lot of things will be the most valuable. So money is that. It's just an easy way to transfer and have value across the world, that you don't have to say, I need 50 grams of salt for about, I think 3 pelts. Actually, maybe 53. Hold on, let me add a little bit more. It's just easier to do it with money. Money is just an easy way to transfer goods. So, I wonder if that would be a fair question, though. Just say, okay, I'm sorry. You know, I don't pay you, but I'll give you things that you want somewhat and need. I think there will be people out there who would say, yeah, as long as my needs are met and I get a little bit of a want, I'd be happy to do the job. Because it's not necessarily the money, but it's just there's life expenses, and money is the easiest way to pay for those things. Everyone wants a little bit of something extra too, though.
You can't invest it, spend it, nothing. And I say, no, I want to spend it. I want to use that money to buy things. All right, you can buy those things. I want to buy things for my family, for my friends, and so on. All right, you can buy those things for your family and friends and so on, but they won't be your family or friends. They'll be just some random people. No, they have to be my family and friends. You see, it comes back to me. The job is loved for the sake of the money. The money is loved for the sake of the things it buys. The sake of the things which it buys is loved for the sake of the people you buy it for. They must be your people. It comes back to me.
Yeah. Well, but I don't disagree with that, because even it's again, the whole point is not necessarily the money itself, but absolutely goes back to you, because in order for you to survive in this world, you need shelter, food, and water. Those are the 3 basic things, and you need those things. And the easiest way to pay for those things is money. But the whole idea is the fact that it goes back to you, and absolutely don't disagree with there at all. But again, it's just he was pointing out the money at the very beginning. It's not necessarily the money. It's things that you need, and money is just a great way for transferring or trading your time for items, because your business can't provide you items, so they give you money so that you can buy what you want. Hope that
And
makes
if
sense.
X for the sake of Y, then Y is loved more. Y for the sake of Z, then Z is loved more. Money is loved more than the job. The things it buys is loved more than the money. The people you buy it for are loved more than the things. And the people are related to the self. That's why you love them. So the self is loved more than the people. The self is the locus of maximum happiness and continuous happiness. So continuous happiness, maximum happiness, Atma, the self. Okay, so put them together. What do we have now? I am continuous existence. I am continuous awareness, shining. I am continuous source of happiness for myself, continuous source of joy. This is what is called Sat Chit Ananda. Things of the world come and go. They are not Sat. Experiences, various kinds of conscious experiences come and go. They are not Chit. The various pleasures in the world and pains in the world come and go. They are not Ananda. The continuous existence consciousness bliss, that is called Satchidananda. Then the author says triumphantly, Brahmaivaham atas siddham, siddham, hence proved. QED we say. Hence proved, I am Brahman. How? Look at your books. Open the books now. Satchidananda Lakshanam. It has been defined. What was our strategy? We will find the definition of Brahman. Then we look at it in our lives. We'll put them together and see they're the same thing. Then I must honestly say now, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. All right. Let that sink in. Now we'll go ahead a little further. One more verse we'll take up, and then I'll stop.
Okay, real quick. So yeah, absolutely agree. But I'm wondering if it's fair enough to say that maybe, perhaps, contentment. Again, I keep going back to that because I don't believe I am happiness. Again, I could be swayed for sure, but you have to explain to me, and I have to understand, of course. I can't just believe that. But me believing that I'm content is very much what I experience. It's not bad. It's not good. It's content. It's that middle ground. So I'm perfectly, I couldn't say, I'm perfectly happy there, which shouldn't be. I shouldn't be happy there because I should be content there. That's weird to say. I am not happy there. I am content. It's true that I'm content there. And the great thing for me is the fact that the reason why I say content too is just because a little bit of happiness, that is a significant, I was going to say a significant buff, but it's a significant increase from where you were at happiness. 0 to 1 is massive. That's infinite, because you can multiply 0 by however, maybe you just add it, add 1 to 0, But if you multiply, like there's no number that you can multiply 0 with to make it go to 1. I was going to say, can you divide though? But don't worry about that one. But you get what I'm saying. That you're a very content person, and then any amount of happiness just makes you happy. And I genuinely do feel that way. Like seeing other people happy genuinely makes me happy. There's no doubt there. I love seeing people happy, and from seeing people happy, I become happy. I don't know if that's an easy way to be happy, though. I don't know if that's a good thing or a sad thing. It's like, you seeing other people happy makes you happy. What kind of life do you live? A pretty happy life if I see a lot of people happy, though.
28 verses, they're all like this. Every possible question and doubt you could have. And you struggle against the fact, no, I am not Brahman. And tell me why. And I'll show you are Brahman, without any possible doubt. See, the two things you have to keep together. One is the arguments, which we just did. They're pretty simple, but strange. I mean, we don't think in those ways. Also, more importantly, the experiences these statements are pointing towards. The experience of I amness. The I amness is, however, it's not ego. If you stress the I, it becomes the ego. But the ego is not constant. In deep sleep, the ego disappears. Nobody ever says, I am sleeping now. No, you're not sleeping. Sometimes mothers will see if the kids are tucked in, are they sleeping or not? And so is a good little boy. If he is really truly asleep, his right big toe will move. And the boy moves his toe. So he's not really asleep. Nobody says I am asleep. Ego disappears. And yet you are not gone. I remember, discussing this with a professor of the philosophy of mind at Harvard University. We were studying Descartes. And I said, so Descartes, I think, therefore I exist. And she said, yes. So when I do not think, I don't exist. So in deep sleep, I don't think. So Descartes popped out of existence every time he fell asleep, and he popped into existence every time he woke up. Never thought of that. Yes. Even when I'm not thinking, I'm still there. I am is there. But the I is not stressed. The amness is stressed. So I am, I shine, I am always the object of greatest love for myself. So Satchidananda. Now, a question arises. Wait a minute. You're saying I am Brahman. But there's another definition of Brahman, quite apart from Satchidananda. In all the Upanishads, Brahman is the source of the universe. The universe was created by Brahman. In Brahman, it is the ground of the entire universe. Existence, the Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, the projection, existence, and dissolution of the universe, the ground of that. In Sanskrit, Asya Jagata Janma Sthiti Bhanga Yasma Tad Brahma, of this universe, where from its origination, in which it exists, into which it finally dissolves, that is Brahman. Are you the source of the universe? You may think so, but I don't think so. You don't look like it. You don't look like you could do it. Are you in New York, or is New York in you? That in which the universe exists. Is New York in you, or are you in New York? We are in New York. How can New York be in me, let alone the entire universe? So, the second definition, another definition of Brahman is, the Brahman is, all the definitions of God in theistic religions. God is the creator of the universe. So Brahman is also the creator, preserver, and destroyer of the universe. In that case...
Real quick, I think that's where most religions will have the problem, is the fact that they believe their God to be the supreme being and nothing else above them. That makes it difficult for them to accept any other religion, or to accept any other deity or anything that's above their God. So if you say even if it's not a God, you say there's existence itself is above God, then you say nope, existence is not above God. Without God, there'd be no existence. Something like that. So that makes it difficult for a lot of people who are religious to accept anything higher than their own deity.
How are you, Brahman? So now the next big question, you have to prove Sarvagyam Sarvakaranam, the cause, the creator of the entire universe. Not only that, omniscient, Brahman is omniscient. I clearly am not. I didn't create the universe. Don't ask me. I'm not responsible. Who created the universe? Not me. And yet Vedanta insists you are the cause of this entire universe, you are omniscient, and so on and so forth. How do you prove that? And the author is equal to the task. In the next verse, he is going to prove that. You are the source of the entire universe, and you are the cause of this entire universe, and you are omniscient also to boot. And he'll do that. Let's see. I'm going to present a series of tightly interlocked arguments now. First the second verse, and then.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna pause it right there. I think that's a good spot to stop. Yeah, how do you convince people that you're the cause of this universe? This goes a little bit beyond of how I think about it, as in the universe itself exists within you because of consciousness. Without consciousness, this universe would not exist. Or something along those lines. Oh yes, actually yes. Without consciousness, this universe would not exist. Perhaps it could exist, but there'd be nothing to experience. Then what's the point? But anyways, I do understand that Advaita Vedanta is that Brahman says existence, consciousness, bliss, as he keeps repeating. Essentially, that everything is Brahman, and there's nothing that's not Brahman. But I want to answer a particular question real quick. I forgot to say that at the very beginning, but it's not to say that's an interesting one, but it's something that I kind of want to address. Hold on. Okay, so the statement was not a question but a statement. It says not only sleepwalkers, even drunkards and Alzheimer's patients do not remember what they registered in their consciousness in short term. So what? That doesn't mean they weren't conscious when the things that they've forgotten happen. Maybe they were conscious at the time, but I guess the biggest question is how does Western mind see consciousness, and how does Advaita Vedanta or just other philosophies see consciousness? That's the understanding I'm trying to understand. How does Western see? Because if you can't remember it, were you conscious? And this goes back to also just people who are just not necessarily drunk, because you can be conscious, but people who are in comas are unconscious. Sleepwalkers are unconscious. Drunkards, they can kind of remember, I think. Alzheimer's, yes. So Alzheimer's is a good example, though, actually, because they tend to forget. They have bad short-term memory. Registered to consciousness in short term. Yeah, so but unconscious people, there's nothing to do to remember. There's no activity whatsoever. So it's a little bit different from Alzheimer's. That's a short-term memory loss. But still, very valid point. Sleepwalkers, that's another one where were you conscious there? That's a very interesting one, because again, this deals with memory as well. But unconscious people has nothing to do with memory, because they're not doing anything. They're literally just laying in the bed. But again, the whole point for me is to understand how it's defined in terms of Advaita Vedanta and the scientific community. And I'm just kind of curious as to how does consciousness work when you're unconscious? Is your consciousness still aware of the body, still aware of the mind, still aware of things? And how does, in a sense, memory and consciousness work? Because again, this goes to the fact that your Brahman, Atman, is not affected by your emotions, your thoughts, or your memories. It's just As far as I understand, it's literally just illuminating all of these things. So it makes you aware of these things. So if your brain is not working, you still can you can still have consciousness, but there's nothing really that consciousness does other than just makes you aware of your abilities. So, for example, there's no intelligence to consciousness. Would that be a fair statement? I'm not sure, because you have people who have learning disabilities. They're definitely conscious. They are definitely Brahman, Atman, but they have a learning disability. Some people who don't even know how to maybe use the bathroom, or doesn't know how to add, or or there's freaking super geniuses at age 6 that knows how to play like freaking intricate violin musicals, and it's like, what in the world? But yes, again, so Brahman itself is not intelligence, right? Again, it's a whole bunch of questions. I'm just so fascinated. I want to learn. I want to know, and I wish I could ask these. And I'm sure as I go through all this, there's going to be many more questions, just because I want to understand. I really, really do. I'm curious as to how it works. Again, obviously, me learning about these things is not going to make me enlightened. I'm not worried about that, honestly. Enlightenment. I know people saying you should be seeking enlightenment. You know. If I worry about being enlightened, I'm not going to be enlightened. But obviously, you should strive for it. And maybe this is my method of striving for enlightenment, is to understand it. Maybe. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. As a matter of fact, it's going to make me dumber and not get me enlightened. But you know what? It's a shot I'm willing to take, and it's something I love. So if it makes me happy and makes me happy, then I probably is going to make me enlightened. I don't know, but it's just genuine questions. I am very, very much curious. And also, I guess another statement here is that you should do inner engineering in person to get the real magic of Sambhavi is magic. I would like to. There's just so much going on. I don't know how. I don't think there's anyone near me for that. I would love to try Swami Sarvapriyananda, Tadatmananda, those two, especially Tadatmananda. He explains things so well. If you have a noob, he is the person to go to, I think. But obviously, whichever guru calls out to you, go for it. Especially if it's close by. That's the most important thing. So have someone that you can genuinely trust, that you know is authentic, that's close by. Anyways, that's the end of this video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, and sound down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.